From the mountains to the rivers wide, tune in, it's time to take the ride. Regina's voice, it's your guide. West Virginia's heart, it's right inside. West Virginia, wire, hear the news. Politics and stories, what's shaping you. From the capital to the county line, we're keeping it local, keeping it fun. West Virginia.
Hey everybody, welcome to West Virginia Wire, mixing it up with Mixed Texan Report. You guys, if you are watching on YouTube from Mixed Texan Report or on the Rumble platform from Mixed Texan Report channel, no, your eyes do not deceive you. He is not here tonight, but we're going to hold down the fort for him. My name is Regina Connell. This is West Virginia Wire. You guys, thanks for joining us tonight. So we are going to be airing the Sean Hannity interview. And let me turn the music down some. There we go. Get just a little bit of background music going. So you guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. So we do have Fox News up and ready to go. We're just waiting for 9 o'clock for the Sean Hannity and JD Vance interview to get started. You guys, if you tuned in to the debacle that happened at the White House earlier, yesterday actually, I think it was. A lot of tensions going on, a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts. You guys, please feel free to leave any and all feedback in the comment section. If you're new here, hey, stick around, watch the interview with us, see if you like our channel, check us out. My name is Regina Connell. We are streaming live across YouTube. We're streaming across Rumble. We're streaming across the X platform, formerly known as Twitter, as well as Facebook, you guys. So under Mixed Texan Report, we are streaming across the Rumble platform and the YouTube platform. So you guys, thanks for joining in. And the interview is going to be starting in about 10 minutes. I think Big Russ is going to come on with us. I don't know yet. So until that gets started, let's see what's going on. I think Jesse Waters was on. It looks like cops or something. So let's see what's going on.
Passion and care.
All I can do is try to be better with every passing day.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and play the intro and we'll get this party started.
From mountains to the rivers wide, tune in, it's time to take the ride. Regina's voice, it's your guide. West Virginia's heart, it's right inside. West Virginia, wire, hear the news. Politics and stories, what's shaping you. From the capital to the county.
All right, guys, thank you for joining. Come on in. So I'm just going to mute this out so we don't have to listen to all the ads and stuff going on. I'll let y'all hear the music that my good hubby made for me. So again, we are streaming across YouTube and Rumble under Mixed Texan Report channel. You guys, he couldn't be here tonight. He wanted to let everybody know he's sorry he's missed your faces, but you guys, please come back, enjoy the other material. And also, there's a lot more great stuff coming down the pike for Mixed Texan Report, as well as our channel, Regina Connell on YouTube, Queen Connell 116 across X platform and Rumble. And we've got Bobina's Book Nook. We've got West Virginia Wire. We've got Biblical Bible Beginnings. You guys, we are taking a 2-week break from our channel, but no worries. We've set out some teaser trailers for the new books coming out. We're reviving some old books. You guys, let us know what you want to hear, what you want to see. And we're also working with our local government, getting to know our local sheriff and local neighbors. And that's what it's about. So you guys, the interview is going to start in about 11 minutes. I've got Fox News up and ready to go. So what are you guys expecting to hear out of this interview tonight? What do you think they'll talk about? Do you think they'll talk about what happened in the White House, in the Oval Office between Zelenskyy, Trump, and JD Vance? And how do you think that situation was handled? Let us know. You guys, if you are joining in on Mixed Texan Report from Rumble and YouTube, we thank you for joining. We're sorry that Mixed Texan could not be with you tonight, but We wanted to stream across the YouTube channel anyway to give his viewers a chance to see the interview as well. He did not want you to miss it. He also wants you to know that stay tuned because more great videos are coming down the pike. If you have any great stories that you'd like him to cover, let us know. Same here in West Virginia. We're in Boone County, you guys. Let's unite. Let's get to know each other. Neighboring counties, Logan County, Lincoln County, Kanawha County. Let's get to know one another. All right, we got about 10 minutes, guys. I'm going to turn the music up just a little bit. And I'll give you some samples of the music that hubby Rusty's been making. It's pretty cool.
Let's hear you speak. From the cold fields to the rolling hills, we've got the facts and the local thrills. What's on your mind? What's making news? Tune in, get the updates you choose. West Virginia Wire, hear the news. Politics and stories, what's shaping you. From the capital to the county line, we're keeping it local, keeping it proud.
Y'all want to hear the Watchdog Wednesday song? It's pretty good. Through West Virginia Wire, Watchdog Wednesday.
Let's hear you speak.
I am working on a series of interviews with our local governor, our local sheriff, and all of that. Anyone interested in being interviewed, let us know.
Your view, Regina's here to bring it to you. The stories that matter from old to new. West Virginia Wire.
Got something you're curious about? Drop me a line. We'll check it out together, guys.
Hear the news. Politics and stories will shaping you.
All right, let's do the Watchdog Wednesday.
Rise and shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours. Breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars.
Guys, leave your comments in the comments section. That goes to the Mixed Texan Report on YouTube and Rumble. Thanks for joining us, guys. Sorry to be here tonight.
Taking back the night and we're standing our ground. Every step, every move, we're breaking new sound. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town.
Baby.
We're the ones who won't back down. Taking back the night and we're standing our ground. Every step, every move, we're breaking new sound. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. Every roadblock, every lie they feed, we rise above it, we plant the seed. Truth in the hustle, in the blood we bleed. On this path with the change they need. Eyes wide open, the time is now. Breaking every chain, we're standing proud. No more silence, no more bow.
Right, guys,
On Watchdog Wednesday, we speak it loud. We're the ones who won't back down. Taking back the night and we're standing our ground. Every step, every move, we're breaking new sounds. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. We're the ones who won't back down. Taking back the night and we're standing our ground. Every step, every move, we're breaking new sounds. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. So watch your step, we're out for the fight. We won't rest until the wrongs are made right. Every voice, every truth, every shining light. We're the watchdogs in the day and the night.
All right, Big Rush, you want to say hey to everybody, baby?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to our live tonight as we get ready to watch the interview with Sean Hannity and our Vice President JD Vance. Should be a nice, pretty good interview. And, the reason, if you hadn't already told them, the reason that we wanted to do this live tonight, coming off of just finishing up his book, Hillbilly Elegy, fantastic read. I recommend you go out and get it and learn a little bit about our vice president, and which I think, I'm just going to go ahead and call it now, will probably be our next president in 2028. I can't see anybody beating him if he decides to run, which I'm sure he will. That way he can continue on with everything that they're doing right now. So, but anyway, this should be a pretty good interview, and we appreciate you coming on and watching it right here with us. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties tonight like we did before, and we can get that thing playing, and we will try to shut up and only give any commentary maybe during commercials or whatever, so you won't have to hear us talk over the interview.
Well, and since you're a dude, babe, I thought maybe you could help out and kind of be like, hey, Mixed Texan is sorry he can't be here tonight. You guys, we are streaming across Rumble and YouTube under Mixed Texan Report. He had some things he had to take care of. He's a busy guy, so he didn't want his viewers to miss out on this opportunity. I'm going to get some things done in the background, and Big Russ is going to talk to you for a second. I'll be right back.
I saw those two thumbnails right there, and I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. It goes from Mixed Texan to you right there in the middle, and just a little bit of a color change, so that's pretty awesome. But anyway, he wasn't able to make it tonight, but we worked closely with him and wanted to make sure that his viewers get a chance to be a part of this as well. So we wanted to do him a favor and bring his viewers along for the ride with us tonight here. So that's what we're doing. If you see his information up there, that's just because we're streaming across his platforms as well as ours.
Yep. And we got 3 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and play his logo a couple of times for people to see, because it is a great logo. And so we'll play our logo one more time, then we'll play Mixed Texan, and then we'll get into this interview, you guys. What do you say?
Yep, sounds good.
I think so.
To the rivers wide, tune in, it's time to take the ride. Regina's voice, it's your guide. West Virginia's heart, it's right inside. West Virginia, wire, hear the news. Politics and stories, what's shaping you. From the capital to the county.
All right, let's do this, guys. All right, so I've got it up on screen now. We've got 2 minutes till airtime. If you guys can see, Rusty and I are in the background. Wanted to make it large in the screen up for you guys. What is this, a new sitcom that's out or something? Let me go ahead and give it some sound. Oh, like Willem Dafoe.
One thing that's right about this
place.
Nice. Dennis Leary is Going Dutch. All new Thursday. It's on Fox and anytime on Hulu.
Saturdays, My View with Laura Trump.
I'm bringing my perspective to the issues that matter most.
My View.
You think Mr. Hannity's going to get into the goings on at the White House yesterday? I'm sure they're going to have to talk about it, right? I'm pretty sure they're going to have to talk about it.
Depends on when this was recorded. I don't think it's live, but I think it might have been pre-recorded, but we'll see.
We'll see. So you don't think it was done?
It's possible because I think Trump's interview with him was done like just earlier in the day or something.
All right. Well, let's hear what Mr. Waters has to say.
Talked about it in the commercial break. The shirt's banned. Katie from Forney, Texas. Did Johnny get that shirt from your closet?
Hey, Texas.
No. I don't know where he got that shirt from, but we're going to burn it. Eddie from Alabama, shame on you for not paying Johnny enough to buy a suit. I'll have him dressed like Zelenskyy next time. We'll see how he does. Kim from Caroga Lake, New York. Jesse, the only mistake you could make would be doging Johnny. He's a keeper. No, he actually responded to my email about his 5 bullet points of accomplishments. So he states, Cliff from Missoula, Montana. You can lead a liberal to waters, but you can't make them think. Joe from Old Bridge, New Jersey. My daughter says you have Riz. And straight up have Riz. Wrist action there, too. What about that? Hannity's up next with Vance. I'm Waters, and this is my world.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Here we go, guys. It's the Hannity. Oh, I'm excited about this. I'm excited.
Welcome to Hannity, and tonight we are back in the Washington swamp, the sewer, as we love to affectionately call it, and we are here to give you all an inside look into the incredible first few weeks of Donald Trump's second term. Just a few hours ago, we were at the Eisenhower Executive Office building just across from the White House for an exclusive interview with Vice President JD Vance. That full interview is only moments away. We'll also be joined right here on set by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. We'll get our Hannity White House briefing, and the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. We'll talk about Epstein. We'll talk about a lot more. But first, breaking tonight, the United States is pausing all military aid to Ukraine until the country makes a commitment to good faith peace negotiations. This after the Ukrainian President Zelenskyy proclaimed that peace is, quote, still very, very far away. Now, keep in mind that Zelenskyy has already been given many, many opportunities to team up with the U.S. on a peace deal. And according to my numerous sources, Zelenskyy is now asking to come back to the White House, and he would now finally sign off on what he should have signed off on last week, and that is the rare earth minerals agreement that would bind our two countries together. But it's not going to happen when the president of Ukraine seems to want war in perpetuity, a war without the U.S. and without European money. He could never even fight. Anyway, on Truth Social, President Trump called Zelensky's recent comments, quote, the worst statement that could have been made, and America will not put up with this much longer. This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing. Don't forget the rare earth mineral deal. That would be just phase 1 of President Trump's peace plan.
Thank you, Pixel Pusher on the X platform. The Impact Report on the X platform every Thursday night, you guys.
Turn to Vladimir Putin. It would also help Ukraine pay back the debt to the United States, while also ensuring that U.S. funding continues and provide massive amounts of money that country will desperately need to rebuild their country. This keeps going. There's not going to be a country to rebuild. Phase 2 would be a ceasefire agreement, and phase 3 would be the negotiated settlement. This would be the hard part, and peace, hopefully, in Europe as a result. Zelenskyy can't even bring himself to sign off on phase 1. Last week's tense meeting at the White House, in spite of what the fake news legacy media mob is telling you, was not an ambush. It was supposed to be a show of unity. It was supposed to be celebrating what was a done deal. It was supposed to be mostly ceremonial in nature. In fact, it was the third time Zelenskyy was supposed to sign off on that very same deal before trying to relitigate the agreement in the Oval Office at the last minute. But of course, the hysteria and anti-American sentiment in Europe is now spiking. Good luck on their own. One major gas company, Norway, vowed to boycott our U.S. Navy, refusing to refill our ship. Really? Norway, they stepped in. They're now promising that will not be the case. On X, only moments after Zelensky's contentious meeting at the White House, multiple European leaders posted their unwavering support for Zelensky's seemingly endless war. Then they hosted Zelenskyy for a meeting where they showered him with praise. Now, as Lindsey Graham said, if Europe wants to take this on all by themselves and protect their own continent, they're free to do so. But as Donald Trump pointed out on Truth Social, Europe, in the meeting they had with Zelenskyy, stated flatly they cannot do the job without the U.S. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of a show of strength against Russia. What are they thinking? He's right. President Trump raises a great question. What is Europe thinking? The United States spends nearly $1 trillion annually on defense. All of the countries in the European Union spend just about $326 billion combined. When it comes to funding Ukraine, the same disparity continues. The U.S. has been carrying far more of the financial burden than Ukraine's actual neighbors in on their continent. And to top it off, Europe is actually sending more money to Russia, buying oil and gas than aid to Ukraine. In fact, the EU bought a whopping $22 billion in fossil fuels from Russia in 2024 alone. Europe is making Putin filthy rich so he can continue to feed his war machine. America, we should be supplying Europe with all of their energy needs, and hopefully, under Donald Trump's plan, that will soon be the case as we move toward energy dominance. But if you want to know how Putin is funding his war, look no further than the European Union. Now, remember, Trump gave Angela Merkel that white flag of surrender after Germany did that multi-billion-dollar energy deal with Putin. So if Europe wants this war to continue with no end in sight, well, they're going to end up being on their own, and it's not going to end very well. And I'd like to see the killing stop. I'd like to see the destruction stop, and I'd like to see at least the rebuild of a country before it's too late. But as President Trump stands ready and willing to make a deal, earlier tonight, I asked Vice President JD Vance about this and so much more. Here's part one of our interview.
Here we go,
Just a couple hours
guys.
ago.
This
Mr.
is exciting.
President, thank you for being with us.
Good to see you, man. Great to be here.
Let's go back to the Oval Office Friday.
Yep.
From your perspective.
Yeah, great TV. As the president said. Yeah, well, it's funny. So we have a 45-minute press conference, and the president normally does this, and I've seen this now 3 or 4 times with foreign leaders, where he likes to bring the media in, likes to have a conversation, but answer questions with the press. As you know, he's very open with reporters. And what I noticed is that for the first 25, 30 or so minutes, he tried to sort of bend over backwards to be gracious and kind to Zelenskyy, even when Zelenskyy was kind of needling him, even when Zelenskyy was saying things that I thought were untrue. The president just tried to be diplomatic, right? I think that's his natural instinct in that situation. And then when it really went off the rails, of course, is when I asked, or you had a Polish journalist who asked a question, the president answered it, and then I answered it, and then something about my answer just really set Zelenskyy off. So then he came at me.
So you blame yourself.
And I went back at him.
Okay.
And what I tried to do originally was actually try to diffuse the situation a little bit. Because I'm like, we're having this meeting. Obviously, there are 100 television cameras here. But let's try to have this conversation in private. And then the president, as we kept on going back and forth, I tried again to say, well, maybe we should have this conversation in private. And the president was like, nope, actually, I don't want to have it in private anymore. I want to have this actual conversation in public for the American people to see. And I do think that there was just a certain sense of, there was a lack of respect. There was a certain sense of entitlement. And most importantly, look, we can look past all of that stuff, but the president has set a very clear goal for his administration. He wants the killing to stop. And I think that it's very important that President Zelenskyy and, of course, President Putin, too, they've both got to come to the negotiating table. And that's ultimately where things broke apart. I really don't care what President Zelenskyy says about me or anybody else, but he showed a clear unwillingness to engage in the peace process that President Trump has said is the policy of the American people and of their president. That's the real breakdown. Is I think Zelenskyy wasn't yet there, and I think frankly now still isn't there, but I think he'll get there eventually. He has to.
My understanding is he tried to get back in, or tried to stay a number of times, and then made numerous calls to come back. Is that true?
I don't know about numerous calls, but they certainly made at least one request to come back in and continue the conversation. The president was like, look, first of all, they were disrespectful, and second of all, what are we even going to talk about? They've shown a clear unwillingness to discuss the peaceful settlement that President Trump is trying to bring to the situation. I think a lot of Americans are sort of, it's useful to step back and ask ourselves, what is the actual plan here? You can't just fund the war forever. The American people won't stand for it. And by the way, Sean, if you look at European opinion polls, the Europeans aren't going to stand forever for it either. We need to bring this. But you've got to have two to tango. You've got to have a negotiating partner in the Ukrainians who recognize that, of course, they have their views, and of course, they're not always going to agree with us, but they've got to participate in the conversation. They weren't willing to do that on Friday, so the president said, send them home.
He said today that the war he expects will go on a very long time. I don't know where he's going to get the money to fund that war. I have my doubts that Europe will fund the war to the level that Biden and Harris were funding it. And then the issue now has come up whether or not this administration will continue to offer money and arms for this war to continue. Because without America, I would argue the president was right in saying they have no cards.
Yeah, Well, Sean, I think our European friends, frankly, are being really, they're doing a disservice to the Ukrainians because their own populations are saying, we're not going to fund this war indefinitely. The American people are saying, we don't want to fund the war indefinitely. So the only thing that is in the best interest of America, of Russia, of Ukraine, and of Europe is to bring this thing to a close. What happened, Sean, is you have Zelenskyy. He goes to Europe, and a lot of our European friends puff him up. They say, you're a freedom fighter. You need to keep fighting forever. Well, fighting forever with what? With whose money, with whose ammunition, and with whose lives? The president is actually taking a much more realistic perspective and saying, this can't go on forever. We can't fund this thing forever. The Ukrainians can't fight forever. So let's bring this thing to a peaceful settlement.
When I interviewed Zelenskyy, he wouldn't give me direct answers. I asked him about the mineral deal to pay the U.S. back. To me, there's three phases in this. And my understanding was Friday was supposed to be relatively ceremonial.
It was.
And in that it was supposed to be we signed the mineral deal. That's part one. Part two would be a ceasefire. Part three would be the hardest part, the negotiated settlement with Putin, who, correct me if I'm wrong, said he's willing to talk peace with Trump.
Yeah, he said he's willing to talk peace. And of course, we trust but verify. We want to have the conversation. We don't assume that everything that anybody tells us is true. That's why we want to engage in this conversation. But you're exactly right, Sean. When the Ukrainians came to Washington on Friday, it was supposed to be ceremonial. There had been some public back and forth, some disagreements, some words spoken in public. And the president was like, let's have this moment. We give some credit to the brave Ukrainian fighters. And of course, it's a very brave army that they have there in Ukraine. Let's sign this minerals deal, which importantly does two things. It allows the American people to get some of their money back, but it also shows the Ukrainian people that America has a long-term investment in their sovereignty. You do those things, we'll sign this thing, we'll have a rah-rah moment, and then we'll get to the tough talk of negotiating peace. We couldn't even get the Ukrainians to a point where they could talk about the peaceful settlement. And look, in some way, Sean, I get it. I get the frustration. I get the rage. It's their country. Of course, it's not our country, but you've got to accept cooler heads have got to prevail. This thing cannot go on forever. This is the important point. I'd say this to our, of course, most importantly, the Americans who are watching, but people all over the world. When you talk to leaders in private, whether they're Ukrainian or European, when you talk to people in private, they will tell you this cannot go on forever. There aren't enough Ukrainian lives, there isn't enough American money, and there isn't enough ammunition to fund this thing indefinitely. The only realistic pathway to bring this thing to a settlement is President Trump's pathway. We encourage both President Zelenskyy to follow that path.
Well, I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars have been spent, and this came up in the discussion Friday. The Biden administration called Putin every name in the book. And they've been trying to get the president.
And he still invaded anyway.
Okay, he still invaded anyway. Well, remember, it depends if it's a minor incursion. Let's go back to that moment, which I thought as troops were amassing on the border. But I go back and I think about this, and Biden spent all of this money, called Putin, all of these names. The media and the Democrats, they want Donald Trump to call him names. And the president addressed that. And then he's supposed to call him and say, Vladimir, are you ready to now?
Yeah,
it's not going to work.
No, it's diplomacy 101, right? Is you have to have a reasonable relationship with somebody to be able to even start the conversation. And we have to remember, Sean, Ukraine, half the country, a third of the country is totally destroyed. The economy is depressed. You've got hundreds of thousands of dead Ukrainians. Of course, a lot of dead Russians as well. The president wants to negotiate a settlement. How can you negotiate if you can't even talk to somebody? And that's what he said. He's not saying, like, nobody's suggesting, as Secretary Rubio said, nobody's suggesting that we give the Nobel Peace Prize to Vladimir Putin. What we're saying is it's important for President Trump to be able to have a conversation. That's not well served by standing up at a press conference and calling the guy by every negative name in the book. By the way, as you just said, President Biden called Putin every single name in the book. What did it lead to? It led to war. It led to destruction. It led to conflict. President Trump is trying to bring this thing to a close. You got to be able to talk to somebody to do that.
Is the door open? President Trump said Friday he can come back if he wants peace. Is that door still open today?
What President Trump has said clearly and consistently is, of course, the door is open so long as Zelenskyy is willing to seriously talk peace. You can't come into the Oval Office or anywhere else and refuse to even discuss the details of a peace deal. Look, this is not going to make anybody happy. The Russians are going to have to give up stuff. The Ukrainians are going to have to give up stuff. But you can't come to the Oval Office and say, give us security guarantees. We won't even engage with you about what we're willing to give up. That's been the Ukrainian posture. When that posture changes, as President Trump said, when they're willing to talk peace, I think President Trump will be the first person to pick up the phone.
Well, I got to imagine that they're probably rethinking it. What did you make of European leaders, quote, their voices of solidarity this weekend? Because it's Lindsey Graham, who's been very supportive of Ukraine in this conflict. I mean, he was livid.
Yes.
And he said, if they want to now defend their own continent, let them go ahead and do it. Good luck to them.
Yeah, and my message to the Ukrainians, by the way, to President Zelenskyy is, when you've lost Lindsey Graham, that means you need to come to the negotiating table and recognize Donald Trump is the only game in town. He's the only person who I think has a meaningful plan to save that country. But Sean, here's the problem with the Europeans. And a lot of these guys are our friends. They're our allies. We, of course, the president has a great relationship with a lot of European heads of state, and so do I. But they need to be realistic. And the craziest part about this, Sean, is that sometimes you'll have European heads of state who in public will puff up their chest and say, we're in it with President Zelenskyy for the next 10 years. And then in private, they'll pick up the phone and say, this can't go on forever. He has to come to the negotiating table. So I honestly don't care what the Europeans say in public. What I care is what they say in private. And what they need to be saying to President Zelenskyy is, this can't go on forever. The bloodshed, the killing, the economic devastation, it's making everyone worse off. The only pathway to think back to peace and prosperity is what the president is trying to accomplish.
And now we look back in time and we see Joe Biden was beginning to understand that the patience of the American people is running thin.
That's right.
Hundreds of billions of dollars. We're a nation with nearly 40 trillion in debt. I mean, it's too much.
Well, Sean, this is an important point, though, because I was a United States Senator, for course, for the last 2 years of the Biden administration. I got elected. I think you like this job better? I think I like this job a lot better. I certainly like the president a lot better. And here's the thing, when you talk to the Biden administration officials in private, it's another example of a terrible situation that Biden admin left the Trump administration. When you ask them, what's the plan? Okay, we're going to spend tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars in Ukraine. What is your plan? And they would honestly tell you, well, we're just going to send them weapons for as long as we can and hope eventually they can turn the tide. Hope is not a strategy. Throwing money and ammunition at a terrible conflict, that is not a strategy. The only guy in town with a strategy is the President of the United States, and everybody needs to follow his lead.
What scares me is Zelenskyy, when he says it's going to go on for years, how many more lives are going to be lost? He's not going to have a country to save exactly that. The minerals deal would have provided the money to rebuild their country and a strong U.S. presence and maybe European troops as well.
And this is an important part of it. The president knows that, look, if you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years. The security guarantee and also the economic guarantee for Ukraine is to rebuild the country and ensure that America has a long-term interest. You're not going to do that if you come to the Oval Office and insult the president and refuse to follow his plan for peace.
If he called, I hate hypothetical questions, sure, forgive me. If he called tomorrow and said, I am ready to adopt your plan for peace, he can come back?
I think that if he called and had a serious proposal for how he was going to engage in the process, look, there are details that really matter that we're already working on with the Russians. We've already talked to some of our allies. He needs to engage seriously on the details. I think once that happens, then absolutely we want to talk.
You convince Putin and the Russians are willing to meet them, I don't want to say the word halfway, they're willing to do their part to achieve a negotiated settlement.
Am I convinced? No. But do I think that there's a real pathway? You got to trust but verify. You've got to engage in the negotiation. You've got to see what steps people are willing to take. This is another thing, Sean, obviously I'm biased because I really love the guy, but when the media attacks President Trump as somehow on the side of Putin, two big problems with that. First of all, the only president in 20 years where you haven't had the Russians take a bunch of territory was under the first term of Donald J. Trump. The second part of that is you've got to actually accept that President Trump, he's not just assuming that everything the Russians tell him is true. He's negotiating with them. There's a give and take. There's a trust but verify That's called diplomacy. We used to have some respect for that in Washington, D.C.
And Putin
And
has
coming
never
up for
broken his word with Trump.
my exclusive interview with the Vice President JD Vance, I asked.
All right, babe. So what are you thinking so far? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I've been following this since everything went down on Friday. And I mean, I've heard a lot of different people say their points of views on it. And most of the people, I think, agree that, Zelenskyy made a mistake, and he doesn't care as much as most people think that he cares. And whether you like Trump or not, like, there's nobody else right now in the world as far as leadership that can get anything done in this situation. He's trying his best to put an end to the massive killing and stuff that's going on, and nobody seems to be able to have any kind of plan to do that except for Donald Trump. And I don't care how much you dislike him, you ought to like him for the fact that he's trying to create peace. Just like JD Vance said, like, everybody's got to give up something in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't agree with. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I mean, everybody's got to give up something to make this happen. There is no winner or loser, and I think that's what Zelenskyy is wanting, something guaranteed that when the ceasefire ends, like, that he is considered the winner of the war. And there is no, when you lose millions or hundreds of thousands of soldiers in a war, there is no winner in that. And the only person that wins is I don't even know what to say about that, but there is no winner when it comes to wars that go on and on and on and kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Well, I think there's a saying, the only enemy, what is it? So I can't remember the saying, but I think the thing that impresses me the most is, Zelenskyy, he only cares about the money. It's a huge red flag to me if someone says, no, you don't go talk to that person because they're bad, they're going to break their word. Why? That's hearsay. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I don't think that's right. And I think that is basically what Trump is saying, what JD Vance is saying, is that you have to meet with the person. You have to. Even if you're going to declare war on each other, at some point you got to face off. And Zelenskyy is just, I think it's cowardice to not come to the table with someone on any circumstances, not just in this circumstance. People say it all when they won't come to the table. Oh, it's a waste of my time. Okay, well, then I'm a waste of your time. But that says all I need to know about you. When people won't come to the table to try to work things out, they only want to fight. That tells us all we need to know. Do we want things to be better and hopefully we can come to the table and find common ground? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he keeps throwing out this phrase of wanting guaranteed securities and things like that. With this mineral deal, I don't see anything but guaranteed security with that. I mean, once he signs that deal and you put Americans mining over there on Ukrainian and on their land and stuff, the securities are there for however long it takes to do that.
I
Russia
agree with you.
is not going to continue to fire while Americans are over there doing stuff. That immediately would start with Americans backing the Ukrainians even more than they are now.
Well, from my understanding, the Ukrainians are under martial law right now. That's the whole reason why Zelenskyy does not want to step down. And from my understanding, from what I've seen, and I'll provide the sources or whatever from where I've heard it from, but they're saying that the factions, the general or whatever, I don't know his name over there, but it's not really Zelensky. And they're saying that if he steps down, then they have to let them, if they let them out from under martial law, that's the only way that they can really have an election. Then they would have to give them an election. But while they're under martial law, that's their excuse for not having an election, kind of like a version of the COVID pandemic. Okay, guys, we are back.
The threat is from within.
Yes.
And you went on to talk about digital censorship and canceling elections. That was a powerful condemnation of what is really happening.
We're buffering,
I appreciate it.
sorry.
And it's also, by the way, Sean, a condemnation of what the Biden administration was doing. This is one of the things that I think the Europeans didn't appreciate about the speech is the biggest driver of mass censorship in the last 5 years. It actually wasn't the Europeans. They were the victims of it in a lot of ways. It was coming from the Biden administration. This whole crazy left-wing idea that we're not allowed to debate ideas, that we're not allowed to discuss things, that we have to silence people, censor them, throw them in jail for silently praying outside of an abortion clinic. These ideas are going to destroy Western civilization. They're going to destroy Europe, and they would destroy the United States of America if we allowed them to fester. Thank God we have a president now who believes in free speech, but the danger is still there. The danger is there in Europe. The danger is there in the United States of America. We have to ask ourselves the questions as leaders. Are we willing to defend people even if we disagree with what they say? If you're not willing to do that, I don't think you're fit to lead Europe or the United States of America.
If you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you.
Exactly right.
I said it at the same
That's
conference.
exactly right. There's nothing that we can do for you if you're terrified of your own people. And Sean, you see this every single day. What are some of the biggest drivers of violence in these European societies? It's mass migration. It's people who haven't assimilated into European societies who are driving cars into Christmas festivals, killing tons of innocent people. And very often, the European response to that is not to say, oh, well, maybe we should get control of our own borders. The response is to try to silence and shut down their own citizenry. That is a danger in Europe. It was a danger under Joe Biden in the United States of America. And look, of course, China is a major threat. It's a major competitor over the next few years, over the next few decades. But I have no doubt that America and Europe could take on whatever threats so long as we're strong internally. That's the biggest risk to our civilization. It's that weakness internally. That's what we have to fix.
The Democratic Party now, they want long, protracted wars. The Democratic Party championing men to play in women's sports. The Democratic Party putting the rights of illegals over the safety of Americans, and defending what will be hundreds of trillions of dollars in waste, fraud, abuse, corruption. How does that end for them?
I think it ends very, very poorly. And the American people are a lot smarter than the Democrats give them credit for. You cannot shut up your fellow citizens, force biological men to play in sports with girls, which, by the way, is just insulting to the girls. It's actually dangerous. Title IX, these sports are very violent. You don't want to have biological men against women. It's crazy. And the Democrats, again, there's this crazy idea in the Democratic Party that if you just repeat insane ideas, eventually the American people are going to believe them. We actually think the American people are smart, and we should listen to them rather than preach at them. And I think that's the core right now of the president's political strength.
Last question. Tomorrow, you'll be sitting in a very prominent seat. Are you excited about your seating chart for the State of the Union?
I'm excited about the speech. It's going to be a little unusual to have the camera on me for an hour and a half, and every reaction that I have. But I think as the thing that I've learned, Sean, is people always say when you're on camera, try to be stoic and try not to show your cards. I'm going to have fun tomorrow because the President of the United States, he's going to make a lot of good arguments. He's going to talk about a lot of the successes that we've had in these first 45 days. He's also going to be himself, which means he's going to poke a little fun, and we're going to have a good time tomorrow. So I'm just going to try to enjoy it.
Well, it seems like when I first interviewed you, it seems like it's sunk in. You now know you're the Vice President. So you're like, okay, this is a little new, but Mr. Vice President, you're always generous with your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
See you, Sean.
Well, that was pretty cool.
I need to correct one thing. I said hundreds of trillions. I meant hundreds and hundreds of billions. Waste, fraud, and abuse is what I was referring
It'd give us a heart
to.
attack,
I
Sean.
apologize. When we come back, the mayor of Boston being criticized tonight after offering condolences to the family of a man that was trying to stab two
Yeah, that
people
story is
and was shot and
horrible.
killed by an off-duty officer. We've got the disturbing details next. And the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is live right here in studio and will explain how she's shaking things up and what happened with the Epstein files. Straight ahead.
Yeah, that's what everybody is wanting to know. So, you guys, I did not know Pam Bondi would be making a live appearance. I had no idea. So that's an extra treat there. So I know everyone's been curious. I did hear the story that he's going to bring about the off-duty police officer that had to protect the lives of other people, and now they're rallying around the man that was trying to go after someone else. And Wise with a righteous perspective, he actually reported on that story this morning. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a righteous perspective on the YouTube channel right here. He's also on Rumble and X platform. You guys, please go check him out and subscribe. All right, so you guys, we are streaming live from Mixed Texan Report YouTube channel and Rumble channel. You guys, he couldn't be with us tonight. We told him we'd hold down the fort for him so his viewers would get the opportunity to see this interview. And then we're also streaming across West Virginia Wire, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. All right, what you think, babe, so far?
Well,
what do you think Pam Bondi's going to say?
I don't know. I didn't even know that was. I was only expecting JD Vance, and
me too.
So I don't know.
So she's got a lot to answer for these Epstein files. She threw down a gauntlet that she couldn't back up. I mean, it's been way past the deadline.
I don't expect to hear anything earth-shattering or anything. It's
I don't either.
A normal interview or whatever. I don't expect to hear anything too much. But anyway,
gaslighting.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, I did enjoy seeing JD Vance. I think he's such a cool guy. I really like him a lot, and I cannot
go check out the book on our YouTube channel too.
Yeah, go to our YouTube channel, West Virginia Wire, Regina Connell, and we have the entire book of Hillbilly Elegy up on there. Go find it, and you will learn about the entire life of JD Vance, from the time that he was born all the way until he was in college. So I thought it was a fantastic read and gave me a much better understanding of our vice president and who he is as a person and where he comes from and what he stands for. So
yeah, because he kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody knew who he was. And I will say,
he's only in his 30s, so
yeah,
he's pretty young to be in the position that he's in right now.
Well, Tatum Face reported first. I did hear it from him first. I will give him that credit, the Officer Tatum show, that he was like, I think JD Vance is going to be, because he found it on the website somewhere. They were connected somehow. JD Vance's, I don't know. Anyway, and then all of a sudden we found out that JD Vance is Trump's pick, and here we are now. And I thought, what better way to get to know our vice president than to read his book? So that was amazing that he had already published a book, and Trump's got a new book out, or it's not Trump's book. I forget who the author is. I'll find out, but it's another book about Trump too. So many books to read. So many books to read, you guys.
Yep.
Let's make book reading great again.
That's right.
All right, let's see what's up. Yeah, we're still at a commercial.
Still on commercial break.
Oh, Brett. What's his last name? Bayhart. Is it
Bayer?
Bear, like BEHR. I don't know, guys. Sorry about that. So you guys join us tomorrow night. You guys, we are going to be covering the State of the Union address. We've asked a couple of guests to come on. We hope they'll be able to join us. We did ask at the last minute. You guys, if you're interested in joining us, let us know. We know it's last minute. We thank you all for tuning in. I know, I think everybody's going to be watching that tomorrow night. Okay, let's see what's up.
Two individuals in a crowded Chick-fil-A in Boston and was fatally shot by an off-duty police officer who was witnessing the incident, according to the police commissioner. The officer identified himself, told the suspect to drop the weapon when the suspect did not comply. The officer discharged that weapon to stop the threat. But when it was time for the Boston mayor, Michelle Wu, to speak, she expressed sympathy for the knife-wielding suspect, but not the two individuals who were nearly stabbed. Take a look.
My condolences and all of our thoughts are with the family of the individual whose life has been lost. And I'm also thinking of all the people who were impacted here today in one of the busier parts of the city.
Did she say
tragedy.
thank you to the officer?
Then when asked about the backlash following her statement, Mayor Wu actually doubled down on stupid. Take a look.
You know, it's unfortunate to politicize being at the scene of a tragic incident. Our officers are in extremely difficult and dangerous situations every single day, keeping our residents safe. And I express condolences along with our police commissioner and district attorney, because every loss of life is a horrible tragedy.
Now, despite this incident, President Trump is making major headway on crime all across the country. According to a report from the New York Times, Trump's tariff threats on Mexico is now forcing the Mexican government to crack down on organized crime, forcing cartels to shut down fentanyl production, and they are going into hiding. Meanwhile, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi continues investigating the Epstein files and attempting to get a hold of the files that were never handed over from the FBI bureau in New York. The Attorney General Pam Bondi joins us now.
Here we go, guys.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Are you drowning yet? How many weeks in?
Just a few.
Just a few. Let me start with the Epstein case, because there was an expectation that this was going to be bigger. You had the same expectation.
We all did. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m. Thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course. And Cash is going to, Director Patel is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay, I want to be clear, because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more.
I'd say that's an understatement.
Find out less than 24 hours before the release, you got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over.
I want to hear her address the binders and giving binders to influencers.
Sure, you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. You know, there were flight logs, there were names and victims' names, and where's the rest of the stuff? And that's what the FBI had turned over to us. And so a source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York.
Yep.
So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Cash is going to get me and himself really a detailed report as to why.
Can we get a timeline, please?
Documents and evidence had been withheld. And, you know, we're going to go through it as fast as we can, but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein. There are a lot of victims.
Well,
Here we go again, guys. I think it's
phase
a
one,
circus.
254.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, is that the only thing that would be redacted? Will everything else be made public that you get in your possession?
Yeah, the FBI hasn't had, obviously, they haven't looked at the thousands of pages of documents that they just received Friday.
Yep.
But Cash has a team going through them, and it's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know. The Biden administration said on these documents, no one did anything with them, and why were they sitting in the Southern District of New York? I want a full report on that. You know, sadly, these people don't believe in transparency, but I think more, unfortunately, I think a lot of them don't believe in honesty, and it's a new day. It's a new administration, and everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
And that goes the same with the JFK files?
JFK,
files,
Martin Luther
MLK?
King. Yeah, absolutely.
What are the things that, and maybe some people don't understand the need to redact. In the case of a victim, that should be pretty obvious to people. What are the other things that maybe you'd have to redact?
Well,
national security?
No, of course. National security, some grand jury information, which is always going to be confidential, but we'll see. Let's look through them as fast as we can, get it out to the American people, because the American people have a right to know, not only on that, but on Kennedy, on Martin Luther King, on all of these cases that the Biden administration has just sat on for all these years. So yeah, it's really, it's not sad, it's infuriating that these people thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't. It's a new day, and we believe in transparency, and it's going to come out. And when we redact things, Sean, what we're going to do is not just pull pages out like they used to do. If something's redacted, you will know the line, and you will know why it's redacted, the victim's name, identifying information of the victim.
Let's talk a little bit about the DOJ prior to your arrival. I believe it was weaponized. How do we prevent that from ever happening again? I believe that once the FBI was the world's premier law enforcement agency, and that was weaponized and politicized, I believe the same with our intel community. How do we restore these institutions to their former greatness?
Well, first and foremost, we got rid of the Jack Smith team. Gone. Those people are gone. We're still trying to find out. There are a lot of people in the FBI and also in the Department of Justice who despise Donald Trump, despise us, don't want to be there. We will find them because you have to believe in transparency. You have to believe in honesty. You have to do the right thing. And right now, we're going to root them out. We will find them, and they will no longer be employed. But again, we're starting at every level of the Justice Department, Sean, and getting rid of the worst of the worst. But there are a lot more people that shouldn't be there. But there are a lot of good people who are out there now risking their lives every day making these cases. You know, today we made a huge case involving a Guatemalan, an illegal from Guatemala, one of the largest human trafficking rings in the country. 20,000 people being smuggled into this country from Guatemala. That arrest was made in California. Last week, an illegal was arrested in New York for ISIS, funding ISIS. It's constant. We are going to get out there. We're going to arrest the bad people, take them off the streets, and restore the Justice Department to what it was made to do, fight violent crime.
Were you, or are you up to this point? I know it's very early in your tenure. Are you at all shocked at how things were running before you got there?
Shocked. Yeah. Shocked. Never thought, Cash and I, Patel, talk about this all the time. You know, we knew it was bad. We never knew how bad. And especially work on the criminal side and on the people who are in there. Well, you heard the story, of course. I went up, I was visiting the floors. I walked up to the 7th floor of the national security, and I couldn't get in there because it's a skiff. Well, that's how it was secure. Yeah. But my detail managed to get me in there. They still had a picture of Joe Biden on the wall and Kamala Harris. That's how bad it was. So I personally took those off the wall. But that's the tip of the iceberg. What about when you talk about people in the DOJ that have an awful lot of power, and maybe what they did to Donald Trump is unprecedented. Evaluation of Mar-a-Lago, the double standard with the raid of Mar-a-Lago, the FISA abuse, Russia lie, dirty misinformation dossier signed 3 times by a former FBI head, in that case, James Comey. Are these all on the table to get to the bottom of over time? Everything's on the table, Sean. We're going to look at everything. And as I said, the Jack Smith team, gone. That was low-hanging fruit.
Out of here.
Get rid of them. Get rid of the people that raided the president's home. Look into what they did? Everything's being looked into. Everything. And right now, we are hiring great lawyers, great people around us who we can trust. Right now, the numbers are very small. Oh. But now that we have Cash, then it's made it a lot easier at the FBI. But he's dealing with what we're dealing with. You know, the great men and women of DEA, ATF, the U.S. Marshals. We're all working together to fight violent crime. And it's a shame that a few people have given them such a bad name, as well as the Department of Justice. It sounds daunting. It sounds like a massive list. It doesn't sound like you're going to be sleeping a lot in the next 4 years. None of us will, but it's worth it. It's worth it to fight for the American people and to keep America safe. Amen.
I think people were losing sleep because they have to work so many jobs, and
Trump has only been in office 6 weeks, and the wins continue to pile up. We're going to tell you what happened today. Yes, the Hannity White House
So you guys, that's Pam Bondi saying, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd say we take care of the right here and now, clean house, definitely hold people accountable. I mean, when I look at the list and I see the amounts of money that people have made off of their public office, like they didn't have that kind of money before they got into public office. I mean, it sends up, and we've all known it's been going on for so many years. I don't know. I think I'll wait and see. But I mean, we didn't get any time frames. We didn't get any. It was just all, there was so much to go through. I mean, how long are we going to hear that for? How long are they going to sit around in rooms and talk about these files and all this other stuff on the taxpayer dollar? I don't know. I know that Doge is, it's to my understanding, Doge is not being paid to do what they're doing. So we thank you, Doge, and we thank you, Donald Trump, because we know he lost money too. You guys, this is serious. Get to know your local government, get to know your local law enforcement, band together, make sure your communities are self-sustaining, that you're not relying on the state's not relying on the federal government. That's all I got to say about that. What you got, babe? And then we'll dig into the rest of this and we'll watch the rest of this broadcast. You guys, thank you if you're tuning in from Mixed Texan Rumble channel or YouTube channel. We thank you for tuning in. We're sorry he couldn't be here tonight. He said hang tight, more content is on the way for you guys. You guys, please remember to check out our YouTube channel, Rumble channel, Facebook. We're everywhere, guys. X platform, check us out. All right, babe, what you got so far? What you think? A lot of nothing burger.
I'm just gonna say this, and this is only my opinion, but I honestly feel like we're not really gonna get everything that they claim that, you know, they're gonna be willing to give us because of transparency or whatever. But I also feel that unless people go to jail or prison over some of these things that they've done that they know are corrupt and hiding all this stuff.
So sorry about that. Keep going. And hiding all this stuff is the last thing you said.
Yeah,
I'm listening.
You know, unless people go to jail or prison over the stuff that they're going to find and uncover, then none of it really matters.
And I say, forget the prison. They don't need to go to prison. I say, bring back the chain gang, make them rebuild what they, I mean, prisons are corrupt enough. But anyway, go ahead. I agree. There has to be accountability. There has to be.
If there's not, then it's
all. What was it all for?
It's all for nothing. They might as well stop wasting their time if they're not going to do it.
Right. And they're
going to be, it's just going to, they're going to find a bunch of stuff and they're going to say, "Ooh, look what we found. Look what we found. I told you that this person is corrupt, but sorry."
And now we can't do a bunch of nothing about it. Yep. Man, it's disgusting to me, you guys. All I know is, like I said before, we cannot rely on the federal government for our well-being. Make sure that your community, your county, your coffers are full, right? Start neighboring and working with your neighboring counties. Make sure that you are self-sufficient. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, President Trump may say we're going back to the wild, wild west and forget the government. I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know, you know, but I'm not afraid.
I'm sure
I'm not afraid.
Just leave for tomorrow night.
I'm excited for tomorrow night. I can't wait. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what's up. Oh, dear. Great.
Is there anything left to this?
There is. Yep. He's got one more thing to go over, and then it's a rapper dapper. And then we're going to be exiting stage right. And then we'll be back at y'all tomorrow night. I think it's, what time was the interview? I sent it to you, babe. Do you still have the text?
Tomorrow night's thing?
Yeah.
Same time, 9 o'clock.
Are you sure? I thought it was earlier.
No, I think it's 9.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, you're probably right. I'm probably just arguing with you to be arguing. We're back. We're back.
Honda will now produce the next Civic in Indiana instead of Mexico over the issue of Donald Trump's tariffs. That's a win. And earlier today, President Trump announced a $100 billion investment in the U.S. from a Taiwanese semiconductor chip giant called TSMC. This on the heels of Nissan deciding to build their plant in the U.S. instead of the original plant in Mexico.
That's a huge win, guys.
Apple's $500 billion four-year commitment to build a massive plant in Texas that will create tens and tens of thousands of high-paying jobs. Meanwhile, President Trump is set to deliver his address to Congress tomorrow night, the theme of which Fox News has now learned will be the renewal of the American dream.
You have to change our thumbnails, baby.
Now, with our Hannity Washington briefing,
Hey, Miss Levitt.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt, how are you? It's great to see you.
It's great to see you in person,
I
Sean.
know.
Thanks for having me.
The only good reason to be to the swamp is to see you, JD, and Pam. That's about it. And the president, when I do get to see him as well. This is major news. I know everyone wants to talk about tariffs, bad. No, why don't people understand the president is a never-ending negotiator?
He's a never-ending negotiator. It's the art of the deal. But also, the president has proven, as he did in his first terms, that tariffs can bring good-paying jobs back here to the United States of America. They protect critical industries here at home. And President Trump is serious when he says he wants to make America the manufacturing superpower of the world. And we have the ability to do it. We have the best resources and the best people. But unfortunately, we've been ruled by a political class that has sold us out for far too long. And we've allowed other nations around the world to rip us off. So your audience should be aware that tonight, 12:01 a.m., tariffs on Mexico and China are going into effect, and another 10%, on China, 25% on Mexico, 25% on Canada. And the reason is because we cannot continue to allow fentanyl to pour into our country and kill our people. I bet you every single person watching the show tonight has no somebody who has died at the hands of Chinese fentanyl that has come through our northern or southern border. And one American life is one too many. And these tariffs are necessary to continue to put the pressure on these countries to secure our borders.
Did you see this as a big movement by Mexico to allow us to, by handing over some of these cartel leaders? Is that their way of saying, please don't put the tariffs on us? And the president saying, no, you got to do everything I want.
We have certainly seen an increase of cooperation from Mexico and also from Canada. But over the past 4 years under the previous administration, they allowed thousands of pounds of Chinese produced fentanyl into our country. Last year alone, through the southern border, 4.8 billion people could have died for the amount of fentanyl that came through our borders. At the northern border, there was enough fentanyl to kill 9.8 million people. That's up 2,050% since 2023, the year prior. 2,050% increase. These countries have to be held accountable for that. Fentanyl is the leading cause of death in this country from ages 18 to 34. And if you talk to the families and the parents who have lost their children at the hands of this deadly poison, they will tell you they are grateful for the president finally taking strong action to end this epidemic and this crisis in our country.
You were in the room when President Zelenskyy was there on Friday. What was your take?
It was my take that President Zelenskyy, unfortunately, was ungrateful to the American taxpayer. And frankly, putting aside my job as President Trump's spokeswoman, as an American citizen, it was incredibly profound to watch our president actually stand up for us, for the tax-paying American law-abiding citizen who is sick and tired of seeing hundreds of billions of dollars go out the door every single year when we have real problems in our country here. And President Trump wants to end this war. He campaigned on this. He talked about it at every single rally across the country. And unfortunately, President Zelenskyy is not in the mindset to negotiate peace. And I think, frankly, it was incredibly refreshing to watch the president and the vice president stand up for America and to have that be before the world to see. The world was able to finally watch what President Trump and his team have been dealing with behind closed doors, which is a hard-headedness, unfortunately, from President Zelenskyy and the Ukrainians in negotiating a true peace deal with Russia.
You're the youngest White House press secretary in history.
I am.
I watch you mostly without any notes at all. And the ease with which you deal with some people that we both know are pretty hostile towards President Trump. And you do it with a smile and ease. Were you always that at ease with public speaking, which happens to be most people's number one fear?
Well, I do think God gives everybody unique gifts and skills, and I guess public speaking is one of mine.
You gave me a big mouth.
But I do work for a great boss who makes my job quite easy because he says something and he does it. So there's no spin. It's all truth. We have the facts on our side, in explaining these tariffs, right? Most people would run away from that argument, but We have the truth and the statistics and the facts on our side, and everything the president does is backed by right. What's right for the American public?
The president, it seems like almost on a daily basis, is giving more access in 6 weeks than Joe Biden has given in 4 years.
No doubt.
I mean, is there any level of appreciation from the media? Do they not now know that they were shut out?
They'll tell you off the record if you talk to them.
Record.
They may not admit it on television because it doesn't fit their brand.
I want to know what they tell you off the record. You don't have to mention names.
Yeah. They'll tell you off the record that they greatly appreciate the access that they have been given to the president of the United States. They are able to ask him questions every single day on an array of topics, whatever is on their mind. Even today, the president announced a major investment in America, $100 billion from a Taiwanese chip company. You just mentioned it. More jobs coming back home. And then he opened it up to questions. He took questions on the announcement today, but he also took questions on the news of the day, on Ukraine and on tariffs and other topics as well.
Just unlike Joe, who's, let me call on AP and...
We don't tell President Trump
whoever's got the
even if we try to
pre-answered, pre-question.
Caroline, our White House briefing. We appreciate you always coming in. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Caroline Levitt. She is amazing. I think she's truly amazing. So you guys, I think that's it. I don't know. I'll make sure, but I mean, I love seeing Caroline Levitt.
An hour long, so that's pretty much it. When he comes back on, he'll have some closing statements, and then he'll be off air on to somebody else. So, yeah, I mean, thought it was pretty good, and looking forward to tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, and I thought it was great that they went ahead and had that interview with JD Vance and got things out in the open before tomorrow. You know, no, are we completely pleased with Pam Bondi's answers? No, but I do realize that even before, it took them forever to be able to get in. So I will trust the process. I'll say it again. We trust President Trump. We trust Vice President Vance, and we trust Elon Musk until we have no reason to. And for right now, they came in when they didn't have to. They stepped in when others stepped out on us, and not only stepped out on us, but stepped out on us with our money and continue to do it, you guys. So no, words don't hurt us. You could call me a name. You could call me every name in the book. I know the truth about me. You guys, it's been wonderful tonight. I've really enjoyed it. We're going to listen to his closing statements. You guys, if you are tuning in from Mixed Texan Report on Rumble and YouTube, we thank you for tuning in. You guys, make sure you join us tomorrow night for State of the Union. I think that he will be with us tomorrow night. I'm not sure. He did say he was a little bit under the weather, and we've been battling some stuff too. So you guys, stay prayed up. That's first and foremost. You guys check us out. The books that we're releasing. Remember, our channel will take in a 2-week break, but we're going to release stuff here and there. And, when big stuff comes up like this, we'll be doing the interviews.
Thanks for joining in, everybody, and we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night.
Baby, you want to go to bed? I know you're he's been under the weather. We've all been under the weather. It's been crazy. All right. I think the closing remarks are going to come on, and then we are going to say peace out to everybody. So you guys, we are watching the conclusion of the Sean Hannity interview, and it was a surprise. We did get to see Pam Bondi, Caroline Levitt. I didn't expect for Caroline Levitt to be coming on, so that was awesome. All right, here we go, guys. I think it's about to be on.
I don't understand this. But their fate is out of their hands.
Oh, we can hear us.
$1 million. Push your family to win, or push the button to extract.
Our survivalists are out there. We are playing a game in here.
Ready to go.
Okay, I don't want to listen to all that.
I know you're smart.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
It's a game for you truly responsible for killing 20 people. 21.
All right,
President Trump's address to a joint session.
I'm so excited about that tomorrow night.
As he lays out his vision for America's future, plus insight and analysis you won't get anywhere else. Brett Baer and Martha McCallum host special coverage Tuesday on Fox News Channel. Dana Perino's new book, I Wish Someone Had Told Me, inside the crucial moments that shaped her career and life. Plus, how to take the next steps in your professional and personal journeys with special insight from her Fox News colleagues. Pre-order your copy now at foxnewsbooks.com. Brett Baer and Martha McCallum host
Oh, for heaven's sake.
special coverage
Come on now.
Tuesday on Fox News Channel.
Thank you. Here we go, guys. Closing.
All right, a programming note. Tomorrow night, we will be back right here in D.C. And after the President's joint presidential address to Congress, we will be on right after 11 p.m. Eastern. And we got a great lineup of guests. Hope you'll join us. And my interview with the one and only Jillian Michaels is now, wait till you hear about her life story. It's unbelievable. It is now available on Fox Nation. You don't want to miss out on that. That's all the time we have left this evening. Please set your DVR so you never, ever miss an episode.
Thank you, Mr. Hannity. Hubby, you still on with me or nay? I don't know if he's still here or not. Anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night. So, you guys, this has been Mixed Texan Report on YouTube and Rumble. You guys, thanks for joining. And also West Virginia Wire across Rumble, YouTube, the X platform, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook, now known as Meta. You guys, it has been a pleasure. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Let us know what you think, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.
Wait, that's happening.
From mountain streams to the rivers wide, tune in, it's time to take the ride. Regina's voice, it's your guide. West Virginia's heart, it's right inside. West Virginia Wire, hear the news. Politics and stories, what's shaping you. From the capital to the county. Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind, ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours, breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars.